It's been 160 days since the creation our closed terrarium, and now you see what happened here. At the end of the last video we saw how in terrarium grew a few mushrooms, and after their fall to them immediately isopods and other little ones came running bugs that feast on them, although many of you wrote that these are poisonous mushrooms and you can't eat them. So we'll watch for the state of health and isopods after such a meal a week after the last video report. I noticed that the moss near the rock is becoming less and less, and coming closer I figured out what the problem is. Terrarium were born dozens of small and isopods that greedily ate these soft green moss leaves. Only look how small they are compared with an adult and a isopod, and at the same time very cute. Sorry, plant food for such number of living things in a terrarium enough, and probably not all of them can survive. But we have a closed system without food and water, therefore, on this small planet, nature itself will regulate the population of herbivores. Insects, remember our underground caterpillar. She became more adult and acquired black color, now reminding with your appearance a small black cobra, and you do not believe she also gave birth to a lot baby caterpillars. Look how small and transparent they are. This baby has a strip on the sides from small black dots, means by that we are not so bad conditions. Terrarium once all species breed, days and weeks passed, but that moss near the rocks got smaller and smaller. The abundance of newborns and isopods is not at all let him grow, and immediately ate without leaving any chance, and 3 weeks later, almost nothing left, just an empty space. Tickets, once green moss straight. That's exactly what people are doing right now, our planet. But the plant has grown very large and reached the lid of the terrarium. It put out stems at the tips of which there were such beautiful seeds, thanks to which it had to multiply, and now I imagined a whole terrarium of new plants, but little ones. Because of the pods, they had their own plans. In just a couple of days, they completely ate all the seeds along with stems, but the moss that grew on ground level on the glass multiplied, very active, because no one can get there. Could not remember 2 decorative red berries on the ground. Someone started them to eat, and now nothing from them. There is usually a red centipede in our terrarium. Is very difficult to see because it only goes hunting in the dark days when there is no light, but this evening she decided to break this rule and dare to roam the terrarium in search of this. Is what allowed us focus on it and consider closer to this monster and its poisonous tentacles. Maybe you didn't know, but in the ancient times on Earth roamed the same, but only huge centipedes, which could easily deal with perhaps a man-sized adversary. This will sound cruel, but I hope that it will help control the population for reasons until they ate all that located inside the terrarium. And just after a couple of hours I noticed movement near the tree cliff. The centipede grabbed the cub and hearth and started eating him alive. It seems he is still moving his leg with the help of its large poisonous tentacles. It pierces the shell because of the pudic and injects a poison that stops his resistance and helps digest food. Yes, it is nature, and such cruel things happen all the time. You won't believe it, but there is no longer on the rock only the moss, but the rock itself begins little by little disappear, and the isopods have done inside. It is such a cave, and apparently made a new home for ourselves there. Today is just some bad evening news, because the plants also show up was attacked by gluttonous, and for Poticop I would really not. I wanted it to die completely. I hope to see him someday. Red berries. One day I installed camera to shoot time-lapse growth of whites outgrowths on the rock, and in fast motion saw something even more interesting. Dozens of very strange living beings moved randomly across the surface. Couldn't figure out what it was. Magnification shows that these are some long-legged aliens who were structures assembled for many. I managed to find such a naked creature. This is something very similar to a spider, but I think that this is not the mouth of spiders. Is the same construction of garbage we found on branch of a sunitsa. And if you remember in the past releasing things under the microscope, we saw that there sat a small larva, some bug, but then something happened unbelievable. One morning I saw on the glass of the terrarium is so simple, a huge mosquito. It had a length of more than 2 centimeters and a sharp sting on the tail. I couldn't figure out where it came from because the terrarium is completely closed, and how he managed only time to hide from my eyes. At first I even thought that you shouldn't show it because I thought that you will not believe and think that I somehow threw it there, but then I remembered That night the camera filmed fast-paced footage terrarium making one frame in 10 minutes. There was little chance. I decided to reconsider each frame and understand where it comes from. Undertook, but bringing this place closer one a few frames we can understand that really just came from the ground. Some thick stick comes out and out of it our mosquito begins to crawl out on the next frame. He almost completely got out after Y climbed on the glass and peed on it. A drop of some liquid is now all. It turns out he got out of here. This cocoon that all this time matured underground inside a terrarium, the only one not hurt in any way. Terrarium. This ivy plant. It has strong thick leaves, which probably not so easy to bite through. Plus me it seems to be a bit poisonous, and so entanglement leaves him at the most difficult times, and now uses it mainly as a place to rest. You may think that in terrarium things are going badly, and that he dies, but I think it's normal process of adaptation of plants and animals in new and such unusual closed conditions. In the future he definitely will not look like now. Some species may disappear completely while others, on the contrary, we will continue to flourish. Observation of what is happening, and as always collect the most interesting moments and events in our next series.